Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong and a Mother's Journal.com. I've got my hair up in my stern bun, as Jason calls it, a little pencil. I use chopsticks for this. It's really easy just to put up with one chopstick, so I buy like nice heavy wooden chopsticks. I have about maybe 4 or 5 left from a dozen that I purchased years ago at Pier 1 Imports. Ah, gorgeous, gorgeous chopsticks. And then I take them home and I cut them to the perfect length. But I'm down to like 4 or 5 over the last years. I mean, how long? 10 years maybe? I had them for a long time. But sometimes I just grab like a pencil or a paintbrush. It does look really stern, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to flip through a journal. I can't show every page because there's so much personal stuff in here. But this is a journal that I carried every day for a few months, and I journaled in it and just kept. It really is kind of a junk journal, you can see. Made from a book, and it's got all my little tags, and of course, we know who that is. But I thought, I'm just in the mood to look through this one. One of the things I did yesterday in preparation for the storm was to go out to the workshop and bring all of my journals in. I mean, I don't want to lose all those journals. And the workshop should be okay, but it's not conditioned space, and it is already getting windy outside. So I would just hate to think of those journals getting wet and getting ruined. So they're safely inside. Okay, so let's flip through this journal and see what's in here. I'll show you a picture of where my journals from the workshop are currently stored inside. I ended up putting them in a little house that Michaela and I made together when she was, probably like 5th grade, and we made doll houses out of just ordinary household objects. So this was just a room of a dollhouse, and I, of course, could not get rid of it. So it makes a really nice little shelf for my journals. So I will try to do this quickly. I know everybody has things to do. It just has this fabric strip tied around it or glued around it to tie the journal closed. And this journal, so maybe you can see the signatures were sewed onto a piece of cardboard or chipboard that was then covered in this pretty paper. So the signatures were sewed to this little board, and then that was glued in. The little strip there was glued in. This was like a to-do journal, or a to-do list, pretty much. I wrote down everything and then just ended up gluing in things that I found. Like that, I had forgotten about these. These Turkish figs are really good. I got these at Big Lots. Really good price. They're really good. Organic, wild, and raw. They're just really good. So if you have a Big Lots nearby, they do tend to carry really good snacks for a good price. These, on the other hand, were kind of pricey. Tiny little bag of gluten-free cookies that I picked up in the cafeteria while I was at work one day. Our cafeteria is awesome, by the way. We have a chef program, but sometimes the little pre-bagged snacks can get kind of expensive, and I understand why. So this thing ended up just being full of little notes and labels. Oh, look at this. Welcome home, lovely Lynn. Jason leaves little notes for me, and during this time I was having to drive to the hospital a lot for training. In fact, back here I noticed I've got training for new job December 4th, 2017. So I think he left this note for me for when I came home. I have no idea why I glued that package of salt in, except maybe it was just as a little token of a thought. When I got sick with Hashimoto's, where my thyroid had quit working and I didn't really know what was going on, my blood pressure got so low that my doctor had me drinking a glass of salt water every morning when I got up, which is the opposite of what most people are doing and trying to stay away from salt. So I do crave salt sometimes, and I don't overeat it, but I understand that sometimes maybe I need it. Anytime I see a sticker or something that looks like Mars, our very important cat, it has to go in the journal. His full name is Vern Marshall Fleming, and he has a lot of different careers. We never know when Mars has taken on another modeling job. Yeah, he has a lot of cat rears. He's a very important cat. Here's just a pretty postcard. Yep, just gluing a lot of things in. All things are less dreadful than they seem. Well, that's partially true. Partially true. This is a digital set for the shop that I'm working on, and I have to finish it. It's going to be so beautiful, but I just need to get it done. Oh my goodness. Joe Van Gogh, that's from the kind of coffee that, it's a local coffee that they carry at the hospital. It's a pretty image. I see a lot of yogurt lids in here. Pretty postcard. Just lots of pretty images. I love the bird there. Underneath is a scratch off. $1. They laugh at me when I go into the little corner store and occasionally splurge. I say it's my big gambling splurge, but $1 is my limit. And then there's a napkin from where we had a Thanksgiving dinner. And then just more pretty things. Sometimes what I do with these, with journals like this, since I do put a lot of to-do lists that end up looking kind of junky, like under here, I just stamped over that. Sometimes I just put pretty paper over it. And then there's an envelope. There's a flyer from one of the duos that my sweetheart plays in. Love that emblem. Barking Heart. They are so awesome. Maybe I can get a clip sometime of their playing and put it in a video. Another kitty cat. And there's a card from one of my co-workers. And there's a lot of to-do list and journaling under much of this stuff. The only thing worse than hearing the alarm clock in the morning is not hearing it. Well, that would be true for me especially. Oh, this journal has some awesome, awesome Christmas cards in it. I ordered a pack of these last year and discovered that they were perfect. I mean, if you like steampunk and you like cats, these cards are just, they're adorable. So I definitely kept some for myself and am planning to order more for this Christmas. I love those. There's an article about snowdrops, which I want to have in my current garden. I don't have any. I used to have some in the old garden. And then this is from the jewelry store. We went to get my ring sized. It was a little bit too big, and I love my engagement ring. It's so pretty. It's a family heirloom. It belonged to Jason's grandmother, so it could not be more perfect, and especially for somebody who used to sell vintage clothes and hats and such. So this is in here because it smells so good. When I find little ads for things that smell good, I just tape them into the journal. And different little to-do lists, cards from co-workers, and that was probably mostly from work. Indeed. There's another one of those cards. Isn't that awesome? Just the best cards. And that's a friend of mine, Lovejoy Botanicals, who does botanical kits and sells them. She's an herbalist. Very, very ethical wild crafter. She's just a wonderful, beautiful friend. And another pretty image from a Christmas card. Aw, another Jason note. Another one of those Christmas cards. Look at this. And this journal is one that I carried. Let's see, the dates are in the front. December 1st, 2017 through January 24th, 2018. So that, of course, is why there is so much Christmas going on in here. So this says Lucky. And this is the last ad for the shop before I closed it in October 2017. I know I have in my YouTube trailer video a little bit about the shop. I loved having my shop. It was in a vintage railroad caboose. It was like my happy place. It was my happy place. But the shopping center it was in, it's under contract to be sold. These negotiations have been going on for years. Every tenant was on notice that they could be asked to leave in some unbelievable amount of time, like 30 days or 60 days, which is just not any time to break down a shop. So, yeah, I decided to close and just close, no pun intended. I decided to close the shop and focus on my love, which is journaling and papers and the vintage ephemera that I carried, and just go completely online. I guess I went off the tracks and ate M&Ms that day. Enjoy getting dressed up. I love clothes. Oh my goodness. So apparently I had a list of things I wanted to take into my desk in the hospital. I have a little cubicle there that's mine for when I'm there, but I'm normally working from home. This is where I was experimenting with some spray inks. Just probably more to do, and journaling covered up there. Oh look, we were snowed in for this, January 17th. January 18th has not snowed like this in so long. We got about 12 inches of beautiful white fluffy snow on Tuesday late evening / Wednesday morning. Ours actually started Wednesday morning. I am finally working from home today. Here's another one of those little inserts that has the scent that's so nice. And that was cut from a card that came from my sister. And these pages, I just really liked the look of this room. I decided to cut it out. I'm getting ready to do an overhaul of this dining room. I just like to glue in little articles and pretty things. Another one of those awesome Christmas cards. This talks about different types of tea. And that's a pretty page. This says Dream. I have gone crazy over fun paper clips. Well, that's pretty obvious, and haven't we all? And I just glued in some local events that I thought I might want to attend when I would see them in flyers and newspapers and things. I love this. I'm glad to be reminded of this, because that photograph is just pretty amazing, all the thoughts that it sort of brings to the surface. And this was just an ad for a local gallery, I think. A local showing in a gallery, I should say. I want to really start enjoying clothes again. The story behind that is how much I dressed up to open my shop Sidetracked every weekend. And the shoppers that I had, performers and singers who would come in looking for clothes to wear on stage, and just really enjoying. I loved shopping for the shop. I mean, is there anything any more fun? We all love to shop, and every week I carried in new inventory, and it was just so much fun to spend Saturday in the shop, you know, hanging clothes on their hangers, putting tags, and I always had really fun different tags from everybody else. Everybody has their own fun tags, but I am totally into recycle, reuse, giving new life to things. So I used ephemera, discarded playing cards that were of course clean, but I used those as my tags for my items in the shop, and I always got comments from the customers on, I love your tags, they're so cool. Happiness is not having what you want. It is wanting what you have. There is a lot of truth to that. Life sometimes brings us situations with life itself, events that we would not have chosen, things with relationships and with jobs, with people, things that happen. And if we can be content with what we have instead of constantly running after what we think we want, now to me that's different than setting goals for always bettering ourselves. But there is a lot to that quote. And then I think I might have gone crazy eating some chocolate from the gift shop at the hospital during Christmas time. And they do get really good sweets in most of the time. So I just glued all the labels in, and that probably is where some of my extra weight came from. And then, of course, the end. So yeah, this is what it looks like at the end of a journal that I carry around as a to-do list, scrapbook, smash book, whatever you want to call it. This one lasted not quite 2 months. So yeah, I was glad to go back through this one.